Hi, this is Bari from Bari J. Today again for We Love French Knots, my new blog, and today I'm going to teach you how to do some French knots. Okay, so before we get started with the French knots, what I'd like to do is show you a new way that I learned to start your stitching so that you don't end up with knots on the back. So what I've done here is I've taken an extra long piece of floss. And the reason it's extra long is because I'm going to fold it in half. So here I've folded it in half and I have the two ends. And the two ends are what are going to be threaded into the eye of the needle. So I'm going to do that and be right back. Okay, so now I have threaded my needle, and like I said, it is folded in half, and so the two strands come right through the eye of the needle, and that, where the fold is, that gives me a loop at the bottom. And the loop is the important thing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the back of my work, go through the front, and I'm not going to pull all the way through. I'm going to leave those loops right there. I'm going to hold it with my thumb so it doesn't get lost here or pull through to the other side. Now I'm going to take the tiniest little stitch here, and this is to lock in my stitching. And what I'm going to do here with that tiny stitch is bring it through that loop that's on the back. And now I have one stitch that is not going to go anywhere. Now start our French knots. I've got the tiniest little stitch on the front. I want to cover it up. So I'm going to start my French knot just slightly next to it. I'm going to pull the thread all the way through the floss. Keep calling it thread. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to, with my non-dominant hand, hold my floss nice and tight. So you see I've got it with my left hand. With my right hand, I have the needle. And I'm going to take the needle and wrap. I use the needle to wrap instead of using the floss to wrap. In other words, I move the needle, not the floss. So I've wrapped the floss around the needle 2 times by working the needle around it. Now I'm still holding that nice and tight. And right next to where I came up, I'm going to go back down. I'm going to hold this piece of floss really tight in my non-dominant hand. The trick is to hold it till the last second so that you don't end up with a loop on the top of your French knot. Well, let's try that one more time. We're going to pull through to the top with my thumb of my non-dominant hand. I've just grabbed that. I'm going to hold it, wrap, wrap, and back in right next to where I came up, reach to the back, grab the point of my needle, still hold tight with my non-dominant hand. I've used extra floss so it's nice and thick so you can see it, so it's a little harder for me to pull it through. Okay, a lot harder for me to pull it through. There, now I'm holding it just until the last second. And now I have my knot on the top of my fabric with no loop. So there you go, French knots.